Podcast Network Asia.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed.
I said give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Zayn.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks!
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Scotia. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You are now listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast, coming at you with a new audio-only episode. My name is Romaran, and with me tonight, as we record this, our ASHs, Emile and Rowen. Say hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey. Yo, so today we're doing something special, or something new, rather. We talked about it. We glossed over it nung live stream last Thursday. So we'll be starting a new series, a new audio-only series here on the podcast, so that you guys have more content to listen to every week. We did audio-onlys before, but we couldn't really commit to a regular schedule for them, mostly because we couldn't find a topic. So for this one, for this new series, we have taken our once weekly segment on the live stream, the picks of the week, and we've turned them into a regular audio-only episode every week, so that we, have more time to talk about them. We get to dissect them a little more instead of trying to rush through them at the end of every live stream. Yes, it takes away the fun audience participation element from the live streams, but we get to spend more time talking about the matches we like. And Rowen gets his reps in as the ASH assigned to audio-only episodes. Before we start, though, let's do a little housekeeping. Siyempre, I gotta promote our Patreon. We're doing a Royal Rumble kind of watch party on Sunday, January 29th. So that's Manila time. I'm sure most of you have Disney Plus. You're probably going to watch it on your own Disney Plus accounts. Pero, syempre, you probably want a watch party-like atmosphere to have some, banter and express your feelings while you watch the Royal Rumble live, which is one of the best pay-per-views of the calendar year in WWE. So you always want some people to commiserate with, some people to fan out with. And we provide you that experience over on our Discord community by subscribing to our Patreon, patreon.com/wrestling podcast, for as low as $5 or around, I believe that is $550 or something like that right now. You get access to our Discord community where we do the party and where we talk about a whole bunch of stuff, sports, TV shows, games, memes, fashion, a whole bunch of things. You also get access to our exclusive review content of TV shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Rampage, pay-per-views as well, and local live events care of Rowen. And syempre, we have merch. You get face mask. You also get a chance to be a part of our pasabays from online stores like WWE Shop, Shop AEW, Pro Wrestling Tees, when we do decide to do them at least once a year, and possibly other occasions where we order some merch online. So our recent pasabay is coming in soon, hopefully within the next month. So again, if you want to be a part of that, just subscribe to patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5. All right, so that's out of the way. Let us begin our first ever pick of the week episode. Just a little rule. We're covering this past week for this episode. So it includes the week of Monday, January 9, and we also extend it to January 5 because we didn't do pick of the week last week on the live stream. Okay, so let's begin. Let's start with someone we haven't really heard from in a while. Rowen, give us your first pick of last week or the past 10 or so days.
My first pick of the week will be Gunther versus Braun Strowman for the Intercontinental Championship. That was from SmackDown last January 13th. Now, lagi ko ina-express on the pod and on Twitter that I hate Braun Strowman and I don't want him back when Triple H was doing the rehiring of released talents. Pero I've always been not impressed of Braun's work. Pero until this match, like I saw this match, parang dito ko siya nagustuhan. Hindi ko siya super favorite pero I was impressed. He did less comedy in this match and this match was also very physical and it has a lot of false finishes and sa sobrang ganda ng match na to, I thought Braun could actually end the streak or like the title reign of Gunther. But hindi ako mag-expect masyado ng like I'm not gonna expect too high because probably in the next few weeks, Braun would be the same guy who would do comedy and the choo-choo train thing.
Yeah, I agree. This was a fun match. Some people didn't really like the idea of Braun Strowman getting a championship match, but it was against Gunther, so I knew it was going to be good. I knew Gunther was going to make it watchable, and he did. I tweeted after watching the match yesterday that Gunther is the Brock Lesnar that we deserve. Because he's the final boss, and then he actually cares about wrestling to a point where he structures his matches in a way that exaggerate yung drama, the drama that we're all looking for that isn't always present in Brock Lesnar matches, especially the WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns. So that was pretty drama-less to me. And I think Gunther is the one that actually brings it in and exemplifies what it's like to be a final boss type of wrestler. Emile, what do you think?
I think people needed a reminder that even before Braun Strowman was released or before he came back, he was probably the best big man that they have in terms of working a match. Like, I remember there was a ceremony, the passing of the torch thing with Big Show passing on to him as like siya na yung trusted guy nila. Yeah, trusted guy nila when it comes to big men having really good matches. And that was a good reminder to all of us that pag needed, Braun Strowman can work. And hindi lang siya yung pang comedy and yung pang like Choo Choo Train Express and all that. So we also have to give Braun Strowman his credit, no? He really brought out his A game in this match against Gunther. So at least parang na-justify din yung push that he's been having over the last few months and a few weeks. So
I actually think Braun can work. Like, he's a much better big man than a whole bunch of other guys like Omos and Commander Aziz even. But it's a matter of him not really getting the opportunities all the time to wrestle a kind of match that internet fans tend to like Rowan. I'm sure he's not a Braun Strowman fan because Braun Strowman doesn't always wrestle the kind of match that Rowan likes. Do you agree, Rowan?
I mean, I just don't like Braun at all. Also, like controversial kasi minsan yung mga nagsasabi niya over on social media. So that's why I don't really like him. Also, I just want to mention that every SmackDown dapat mag-defend na ng si Gunther ng Intercontinental title niya. Because it's really incredible. Like, from that Sheamus match and then that Rey Mysterio match, parang dapat ituloy-tuloy niya na lang na magkaroon ng Intercontinental title match. Like, have an open challenge, kumbaga.
I get it, but they're also maintaining the prestige and the special attraction-ness of Gunther by building up to the Intercontinental Championship matches that happen, I guess, once a month, maybe. It's a lot better than what AEW tends to do, which is they build up the match for next week and then it's just off of a week of build-up, diba? So that's not always optimal. Do you agree with this, Emile?
Yes, hindi naman palagi, but make the Intercontinental Championship the main title on SmackDown. And hindi lang yung basta sino-sino lang yung magkaka-title match. You really have to earn it in order for you to have a title match on SmackDown. So kaya nga gusto ko yung talaga yung dinedefend talaga siya mainly on SmackDown rather than at the pay-per-views. Para at least may distinction yung Intercontinental Championship na on this show, this is the title that matters the most.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Moving on to Rowan's second pick. What do you got, Rowan?
Okay, so my second pick would be Jake De Leon versus Fabio Makisig for the MWF Pinoy Wrestling Championship from Noche Buena. So technically this happened last month, pero it aired last week. So ito yung pick ko.
It counts. It counts.
So I love everything that happened here. Like the video package, the commentary hype, the match itself, and also the post-match, everything that happened after the match. What I love here is the ring psychology. Like JDL kept on working on Fabio's leg and shoulder. For the past episodes of Actionabella TV, diba parang Fabio injured his shoulder and also parang on this match, JDL would work on the legs of Fabio naman. The storytelling is incredible. Nadama ko talaga yung kaba when JDL had a 4-1 lead. Pero in the end, nakabawi si Fabio. And I just want to add that I think I fell in love more in Philippine wrestling because of this. Everything that happened here. Sobrang emotional niya, emotion evoking match and moments that happened. Madadamo mo talaga siya, like may inis ka kay JDL with his heel tactics. When it comes to Fabio, madadala ka rin sa emosyon niya. Before he delivers the PKS, parang maluluha siya. And I want to be honest, speaking as the guy who attended the show, kahit ako naluluha rin ako nun, especially when he cut the promo. Like us who love wrestling, we're born in a country that has no pro wrestling, unlike Japan, Mexico, and US. So I really wish MWF would post this promo kasi feeling ko ma-attract
I'm
din
pretty
tayo.
sure we did. I'm pretty sure it's up there somewhere. But if not, sige, then that's enough. Let them know about it.
Feeling ko Philippine wrestling, not just MWF, feeling ko magkaka-attraction ng wrestling dito because of the words that Fabio left. Like, sobrang passionate. Nararamdaman ko yung parang inggit. Kasi parang, come on, like when nag-interview kayo in some wrestlers, they would always say, may wrestling kasi sa US. Kaya hindi ko inakalang magkaka-wrestling dito sa Pilipinas at hindi ko rin inakalang magiging wrestler ako. So parang he echoed those sentiments, di ba? That's all I can say. And both competitors did a great job. And congratulations to Fabio Makisig, the new MWF champion.
Yeah, we actually should put that match out up for free because it was really good. And I am not allowed to critique it as much in public because I am a part of it. But I can say that it was the best Manila Rules match I've ever seen so far. What do you think about this match as a Manila Rules match, Rowan?
Sa tingin ko, it was too quick. Well, maybe it's just an illusion na it was too quick kasi JDL earned points, naka 4 points agad siya. Pero kung tutuusin, matagal din yung match eh. Like, of course, JDL was working on Fabio. Parang unti-unti niyang pinapatumba si Fabio, weakening him para sure win para sa kanya. Parang he owned up sa usapan nila na fair yung match because diba they had that backstage segment also from the AKTV episodes, parang napag-usapan nila that it's gonna be a fair fight. So hindi rin makapandaya, although may konting pandaraya din ginagawa si JDL, like he's doing some dirty works right there. Pero in that Manila Rules match, ito yung pinaka the best. That's grammatically wrong pero that's what I'm gonna say. Yung pinaka the best na Manila Rules match na napanood ko ever.
Okay. Sige, that's fair. That's fair.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I haven't seen this match, and I want to ask: is this the best Philippine wrestling match up to now? Like from whatever Philippine wrestling started up to now.
All I'm gonna say is, siempre, no. I've seen better matches, but that I'll leave it at that. Rowan, what do you think? I think you haven't watched everything. You've only watched mostly MWF and a handful of PWR shows. So I will leave it to your, since you are the more objective reviewer when it comes to local wrestling.
I mean, I can't really rank which is better, pero I'd say it's one of the best matches that happened in this soil in Philippine wrestling. It's one of the best. I guess for PWR, kasi parang one of the matches that they had that was really the best was the 2 out of 3 falls between Quattro and Imabayashi.
Okay, so yeah, that's fair. All right, before we move on to Emile and my picks, let's take a quick break and hear from our fellow podcasts at Podcast Network Asia. All right, welcome back to the audio-only episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Again, if you are somehow tuned in the middle of this episode on Spotify or wherever you're listening to podcasts, we are doing the picks of the week as a separate audio-only recurring episode now. And we have more time to get into a little more depth when it comes to our personal choices of the matches we liked over the past 7 days. All right, let's go now to our other ASH. Emile, what are your picks of the past week, 10 days?
All right, so this match, technically this happened during when the stream a couple of weeks ago was still happening. So parang ko to, siningit ko talaga to, and I really fought for this one for to be included, to be eligible in our first pick of the week episode. I am going with Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega versus United Empire of Haran Hinare and Jeff Cobb. the main event of NJPW's New Year's Dash. This happened last January 5, 2023. So yeah, this I remember this match was announced while in the middle of our stream. So nung araw na yun, the first thing I did after our live stream was over was to catch this match, and I was really excited for this match, And we all know naman the history between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. They had probably the best series of wrestling matches that we have seen throughout 2017 to 2018. And after their last match at Dominion, we never really saw Omega and Okada share the same ring again. And, both men were coming off historic title wins at Wrestle Kingdom 17 the previous night. And, Kenny, after a 3-year absence with New Japan, came back and successfully dethroning Will Ospreay for the IWGP US title. Meanwhile, Okada, on the other hand, continues his reign as the ace of New Japan by defeating Jay White at the main event to win back his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So, the context behind this match was, at New Year's Dash, NJPW made this decision to not announce any of the matches ahead of time. So people were really surprised, and they were happy when Devil Sky NJPW theme song of Kenny Omega hit, and he went out, and it was revealed that he was going to be wrestling in a main event going up against the members of United Empire. And then suddenly, after that, the famous coin drop hit, and it was revealed to the fans inside the arena that Kazuchika Okada is going to be teaming up with Kenny Omega for this match. And the match itself was nothing really of spectacular. I mean, it was a typical NJPW house show match to send the crowd home happy. But there was this one moment that, stuck to me, and it was, the Rainmaker V-Trigger combo that they did.
Yeah, it was good.
That was really cool. That was a cool moment. And for me, this was my version of the Mega Powers. I didn't really grow up during the Golden Era and the Attitude Era to understand what it means when two heated rivals like maybe Hogan and Savage and Rock and Austin would occasionally team up. Plus, I never thought in a million years that we would get two heated rivals like Okada and Omega. Like, Okada is with Chaos and Omega is with the Elite/Bullet Club. So we never really thought they would ever team up, but we got it for just one night. It was a treat for me and the fans to see them in tag team action.
In fairness, may chemistry sila as a tag team. Like,
yes, they do.
Obviously because they have chemistry as opponents. Naturally, it doesn't come as a surprise that they would have chemistry as a tag team. Syempre, I watched the match belatedly. New Year's Dash, because to me isn't always a must-watch. So I wasn't really surprised by the news of Kenny and Okada teaming up, but I did feel the Mega Powers vibes from both of them. And it was a pretty fun main event. Cobb and Henare also held up their end of the bargain of the match, which goes to show that they are pretty much among the elite wrestlers of the world because they can hang with two of the best wrestlers who have propped up New Japan. So I like that team up. I like that match. And I actually want to see more of it. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to an official Omega and Okada team. But
ewan ko kung napansin nyo, pero before the match starts, diba, the referee was checking on them. Like, may weapons sila.
Yeah.
You noticed Kenny Omega was looking at Okada's belt, the World Heavyweight Championship of Okada. Do you think this is a foreshadowing of a future match, like another rematch between the two?
I do think that the forbidden door, quote unquote, is open again for him. Like, mukhang wala ng bad blood between NJPW and Kenny because obviously NJPW put a championship on him again. So I wouldn't rule it out. I think he was doing a good bit of acting there, which is the little things, as a wrestler, you think of those things on the spot. And then even if nobody's watching or you think nobody's going to catch it, you just do it because what if someone does catch it and then they turn it into a good story, diba? Yeah, so that's my thing. Emile, what do you think of that potential possibility?
It may not happen soon, but I think that moment kind of leaves a door for it to possibly happen sometime down the line, since yung NJPW and AEW, they already have this relationship naman na. So anything is possible. I don't think it's going to happen like 6 months down the line, since Kenny is busy doing trios thing in AEW and Okada doesn't really go to AEW that much. So, but yeah, that moment leaves a door possibility like, that it could happen.
All right. Rowan, would you watch a wrestling show if you didn't know a single match on the card?
No. I would only watch it kung ano yung ina-advertise. So, halimbawa, if the big stars are involved
No,
there...
I mean, like, there was zero advertisement. Like, it
Oh.
was a surprise show, diba, Emile? Nothing was advertised. So, if you were given the option to watch live, pero wala kang alam kung ano mangyayari kasi wala silang in-advertise, would you do it?
I mean, I think it really depends on what promotion it would be. Pero, I mean, I love wrestling. I really want to see anything. Things could happen like dream matches. Hindi natin malalaman. But we would eventually find out if we watch it. Siguro, it's just like in food. You don't know how it tastes. Pero once you taste it, okay, let's go. Go for it. So parang ganun na lang.
All right. Emile, what about you? Would you watch a live show without knowing what's on the card?
Again, piggybacking off the sa sinabi ni Rowan, it really depends on the promotion and on the show. So if I know it's a show, it's kind of like a major show, but no matches are being advertised. Yeah, I'll go watch it. But if it's kind of like a parang house show lang or weekly show lang, maybe still kasi may element of surprise eh. Kasi they are intentionally not announcing the matches. So ibig sabihin, they have something in their back pocket that will please the fans once they announce it. So I will still watch it.
To be fair though, when we all watch WWFX, we don't know what the matches are.
Yeah.
That's true. We didn't know what was gonna happen.
Pero nag-enjoy tayo. There were elements of surprises nga.
Yeah, actually, when they do house shows here, when WWE does house shows, we don't really know what's on the card. We know who's going to be on the card, but we don't know what matches they're going to be. So they're selling yung idea na our favorite promotion is here in the Philippines. We're just lucky to catch it. Diba? Emile, what is your second pick of the week?
All right, so my second pick, again, this is from 2 weeks, magto 2 weeks ago na to.
Yeah.
So this Rampage, last January 6th, we got Top Flight versus the members of the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. So the Top Flight and the members of the Blackpool Combat Club started their mini rivalry at an episode of Rampage for the 300,000 Trios Battle Royal, where we saw the members of Top Flight eliminating the members of the Blackpool Combat Club. And ever since, they've been having this series of matches on both Dynamite and Rampage. I think we saw a tag match where it was Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley who went up against Top Flight. We also saw Jon Moxley, he went up against, I think it was Darius Martin, is that right? Before also this happened. So, ano na sila, may prior history na sila coming into this match. And I had no expectations in this match really because Danielson was busy feuding with MJF while Moxley was also having his own business against Hangman Page. So akala ko parang ano lang to, like quick 5-minute match where, the Blackpool Combat Club were the overwhelming favorites and ganun lang, 5 minutes done. Since, again, this is on Rampage and usually matches on Rampage, I really don't get that excited about. The match itself was unbelievably good for something that was put on a Rampage card. And Bryan and Moxley spent most of the match beating the living hell out of Top Flight. But kudos to Top Flight, they never backed down. And it was really an entertaining opening match to Rampage, which ultimately saw the Blackpool Combat Club winning at the end. Yung takeaway ko dito is that Top Flight is going to be one of the most pushed tag teams in 2023. TK is going to put a rocket ship on this team, and they're going to be pushed over the moon this coming year. And barring any injuries, I really hope we don't get injuries with Top Flight this year. I will be surprised if Top Flight didn't win the tag team championships by the end of the year. And yung series of matches that they've been having with the Blackpool Combat Club is kind of a litmus test to whether or not they can hang with some of the best that AEW has to offer.
Yeah, I agree. The AEW tag team division is in a bit of a rebuilding mode surrounding yung homegrown AEW talents. Now it's the Acclaim, now and then they have the Gun Club again. It has to be Top Flight eventually.
Yeah.
The bigger teams are wrestling for the Trios Championship, like the Elite, Death Triangle, House of Black. So, nandun sila and then nandun sila. I think they've done a good job of making the two divisions distinct. Also, on your note about Rampage matches being good, Jon Moxley has spent quite a bit of his time recently on Rampage because the Dynamite cards have been a little too stacked, which is fine. I always say that the Rampage cards always need a big name on it to make it good. And that's what can happen when you put a big name like Moxley and Danielson on Rampage. And masaya din ako that Danielson is apparently still with the BCC. They did tease for a while back that they had problems, but I guess they don't have problems anymore unless they eventually revisit that some time down the line. Rowan, do you have anything to add to this match?
Okay, so I haven't really seen this match, pero I'll add this on my assignment to get my thoughts, and maybe on Twitter I'll leave my thoughts there after the audio only is released.
Okay. Before we get to my picks, let's take another break and hear from our fellow podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. All right, time for the last part of this week's Pick of the Week and the first ever Pick of the Week audio only episode from the podcast. It's time for my picks. My first pick is from last week's Dynamite, Bryan Danielson versus Konosuke Takeshita. Really good stuff. If you haven't been watching Takeshita's work on AEW from the past year, he is one of the company's new rising stars, especially one that they imported from Japan. I'm sure Rowan might have seen at least one of his matches because he has been booked a lot on AEW. And although people might have only seen him last year, I will admit to having only seen him last year for the first time, he's not a rookie. Like, he has 10 years of experience, going on 11. But syempre, it's his first year of being exposed to the Western audience. Takeshita is unique because he's not like pretty much every other Japanese wrestler that they bring in, that the major leagues from America bring in. Because a whole bunch of those guys, they end up trying to adjust from Puroresu, either from Strong Style or King's Road or whatever the main Japanese style is nowadays. And they try to change and adapt to the American formula. Now, there's a specific formula kasi for Western wrestling. I don't want to get into it too much and show you how the sausage is made, but I'm sure that if you've watched enough wrestling, and if you've also watched wrestling from abroad, you will see the difference and you have at least a basic understanding of the difference. So a lot of the Japanese guys, they tend to not be able to learn and fully integrate that American style. Like, for example, Shinsuke Nakamura, he's great, pero he isn't always wrestling in a style that seems comfortable for him, especially if you've seen him from New Japan, right? So Konosuke Takeshita is not one of those guys. His style is very, very Western. It's high energy, fast paced, and he wrestles big moves. He wrestles a little bit of the less is more style, and he brings the Japanese style of hard hitting moves to it. And Bryan Danielson, especially everyone else in the Blackpool Combat Club, is a great opponent for Takeshita kasi he wrestles the kind of match that Takeshita is also comfortable in. So they kind of complement each other and they have some really good chemistry because they want to wrestle the kind of match that the both of them want to do. So when you're on the same page, you're going to have a good time. And syempre, Emile here, he listed it as one of the match of the year candidates on his list only in the second week of 2023. So I liked it. If I watched the show live, I probably would have second guessed that Bryan would win the match because Takeshita's performance was really good. Bryan gave a lot of offense to Takeshita and it made you believe a little bit that he could win. So yeah, if you haven't seen this match yet, please go and watch it because you will need to know who Takeshita is eventually, because if the rumors are correct, there are some big plans for him. He's moved to the US permanently, so he's not going to be commuting back and forth from Japan. So AEW can push him as much as he wants. They can figure him in their plans as much as they want. Emile, I know that you like this match. What did you think?
So I really love this match kasi it's Takeshita and I'm always looking forward to his matches now in AEW. But ito na yung naging takeaway ko with this match, Umabot na ba tayo sa point where he has been introduced enough to the Western audience that it's now time for AEW to push this guy in a storyline where maybe he'll win a title. Like, let's say, put him in the TNT title storyline. Because I think he's already well introduced name. Or at least for me, I already seen enough of him to say he's already made it to AEW. And it's now time, your next stage now for him is to go for titles or be in a major storyline aside from just having really great matches against, some of the best in AEW. So yun lang. That's the one question na I asked myself, and maybe I'll also ask you after watching this really fantastic match. And again, nasa match of the year candidate ko na tong match with Takeshita and Danielson.
Yeah, you're right. I know that Tony Khan is aware that he can't keep having Takeshita lose all the time because he's that good. There's a thing then, like, even if you're that good and if you show a bunch of good offense and wrestle your ass off, if you lose, then if you keep losing, then you're still going to be branded as a loser. Because you're still going to be branded as a choke artist, as someone who can't get the job done. And I know that you know this being a sports fan. Because no matter how good you shoot from the field, if you don't shoot enough points and get your team to win, then wala rin. Parang hindi ka rin ganun ka-elite as you might think you are. So I think this will be the year for that, Emile. I think that they're going to be putting him in bigger storylines. I know that Don Callis is already scouting him. They're slow burning that a little bit. So I expect more developments on that as the calendar turns. Rowan, are you familiar with Takeshita? I don't know if you've seen last week's match, but have you seen at least one match from him to AEW?
Oh naman, I've seen most of his matches. Like, he wrestled some matches on Dark, diba?
Yeah.
Pero parang siya lang yung wrestler talaga na nagre-rely on power moves. Because wrestler who is from Japan, kasi I don't remember seeing Nakamura do some of his moves na parang similar to Takeshita, or even Hideo Itami, or who's always known as Kenta. I think there is something in him. And to answer na rin Emile's question, I think he will eventually be in a title scene. Parang grinugroom na siya to be pushed and be more exposed on TV.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't, or the others haven't really wrestled a game. I think that modern Japanese wrestling, because it doesn't really lend too much to that. They're usually just striking or submissions, tactical wrestling. So yeah, you have a point there. Takeshita is kind of standing out from that bunch, and that kind of contributes to his westernness, if you will.
One last question, no? Now that Takeshita has wrestled members of the Blackpool Combat Club, with the exception of Wheeler Yuta, sino yung the best na naging opponent ni Takeshita out of the three? Out of Claudio, Moxley, Danielson?
For me, I still think it's Claudio. Because that was a bigger stakes match, and they wrestled it accordingly. I think it had the most drama. I see Brian and Takeshita were still kind of holding back. Because it was a TV match, and it wasn't like the biggest match they could wrestle. Moxley naman was good, but stakes were also low. So I would still have to give it to Claudio, because you can really feel the drama in that one, because it was for a big championship. What about you? What do you think?
For me, yun din, Claudio din yung napick ko, because again, it was diba for the ROH World Title, no? At the main evented pa nga the Battle of the Belts. It was a bigger deal. For a moment there, I really thought they were going with Takeshita to win the ROH title. Ganun ako ka-big of a fan of Takeshita. I really want him to win one of these titles. Sa dinami-dami ng titles ng AEW, I really want him to win one as soon as possible. So I'm going with Claudio.
All right, so again, let's move on to my second pick before we go too long here. I changed it at the last minute. I was watching this yesterday, and it was really, really good. It is Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens from last Friday's SmackDown. Okay, this is interesting because it ended in a DQ finish because the Usos interfered just before Sami was about to deliver the killing blow. And Sami was supposed to, was like, if he beat Kevin Owens, was he going to be further established in the bloodline? Was that the story, Rowan?
I don't remember that being the stake. Pero parang, I think the stake was to make Kevin parang stay out of the bloodline's business. Parang ganun.
Yeah, all right. So that makes sense. They interfered, and Sami was really distraught over the interference because he knew he was about to beat Kevin Owens, and he had him right where he wanted him. But then, for some reason, the bloodline just went in and inserted themselves into his business without asking. It was a really well-wrestled match. Sami was digging deep into his bag of tricks. He brought in a lot of offense, more so than usual. And he looked, I think, the most competitive he's ever looked in quite a while. He was really showing his Japanese King's Road influences there. And for the first time in a long time, it really looked like he wasn't the cowardly Sami Zayn that we've come to know over the past few years. So that was pretty cool. And the DQ finish really did what it set out to do. Like, Vince used to do a lot of DQ finishes, and they would always be disappointing. But for this one, the disappointment was intentional. Kasi you can feel Sami about to win, and then them taking it away from him was really productive because it fed into the larger story between Sami and Roman. Rowan, as the resident SmackDown reviewer for the podcast, what did you feel about how this story played out?
I think I am as disappointed as Sami nung hindi siya nanalo. There was a DQ finish. Pero ano talaga yung drama dito? Like yun yung importante dito. It's the drama that happened where Bloodline interfered. Nakikita ko talaga kay Sami that he is conflicted. Like he doesn't want to be involved with the Bloodline attacking Kevin Owens. Parang nag-hesitate nga siya kasi parang he's realizing that when he is having a great match with Kevin Owens, parang bumabalik yung memories nila together when, I mean, they're friends for a long time. This is their 839th match, exactly. And siguro parang nagkakaroon siya ng realization na parang Kevin Owens is kind of right, diba? And feeling ko eventually, down the line, Sami would not need the bloodline. Parang he wouldn't accept if ever he would be awarded to be no longer the honorary Uso, but an actual member of the bloodline. I don't think he would accept that invitation anymore.
Yeah. Did you think that Sami was finally horrified at how they've been or how the bloodline has been treating Kevin Owens this entire time? Kasi parang, to me, kasi how I saw the scene was that he was about to beat him respectfully, you know, and they took that away from him. And then after they did that, it really looked like he finally came to his senses.
Yeah, exactly. Parang nagkaroon siya ng epiphany. No?
Yeah.
Nagkakaroon siya ng realization that the bloodline has been terrorizing the whole SmackDown thing, the whole roster, and including his friend na rin. Kaya parang yun na yung nagkakaroon siya ng realization. There's something wrong. This is wrong. I don't want to be part of this. Maybe I'll think about this. Parang ganun. Reading Sami's thoughts.
Emile, did you catch this? What did you think of Sami's acting? I think yun yung nagdala talaga eh.
Sobrang nadala ako sa acting ni Sami Zayn. And all of this, the DQ finish, it made sense because yung ongoing storyline is that Roman is afraid that Sami is one-upping him. So ayaw niyang nasasapawan siya ni Sami Zayn. So when Sami was about to beat Kevin Owens, Roman sent in the Usos because he doesn't want Sami to beat Kevin Owens. All Roman wanted is to Sami to beat down Kevin Owens to a point that Kevin would be vulnerable enough for Roman to steal the spotlight and he would be the hero in his own story. So sobrang na-attach na ako sa storyline and sa acting ni Sami Zayn. He really did a good job of acting distraught, of acting na finally, for once in a long time, parang nagkaroon na siya ng realization na maybe he's just being used for the bloodline's advantage. Hindi naman talaga siya belong sa bloodline. So it was a masterful way of doing that. So kudos to Sami Zayn and to all parties that was involved in this finish.
Yeah. We'll talk about the storyline implications more on this Thursday's live stream. But yeah, a lot of kudos go to both people, especially Sami, for wrestling one hell of a match and acting one hell of a scene. So Sami is doing the best work of his life or of his career right now, I think. It's near the very top of the business. And I think that reinforces my wish for him to win the world championship at WrestleMania. All right, that's it for our picks of the week. Mahaba-haba pala siya because we all gave 2 picks, but as we get all of our members back, if we get Stan back, if we get Chino back, we'll probably limit ourselves to 1 pick per person. But since we are only 3, I think we had license to go a little crazy here today. So we hope you enjoyed it, this maiden outing of the Picks of the Week episode. Let us know what you think. Let us know by commenting on Twitter at Wrestling2XPod, on Facebook at the Wrestling Podcast, and Instagram as well, where we're going to post a clip, and on TikTok at Wrestling2XPod as well. And let us know, did you like this? Did you enjoy our more comprehensive talk on the matches that we liked over the past week? Or do you want us to go back to talking about them at the end of every show without much detail like this? So let us know. We'll consider your feedback, but we hope that you like what we did here. All right, we'll see you on the Thursday live stream. As always, meron pa rin tayo nun. It's not going away. We'll talk about the latest in wrestling, if any big news happens between now and then, if any other big news happens in the Vince McMahon WWE saga, and whatever else have you. All right? On behalf of Emile ASH and Monday Night Rowen ASH, this has been Romoran. Follow us pala on Twitter at EML_Meister for Emile, at Monday Night Rowen, that's NITE for Rowen, at Chino Supersize for Chino, and at _Stan C for Stan, and at Ro is War for myself. And let's keep the conversation going and let us know as well what your picks of the week are when we post this on Facebook. Thank you again to the good fellas and ladies over at Podcast Network Asia for always keeping our machine running and making sure that we always have content to give you. We really appreciate what you do here. All right, guys, we'll see you on the Thursday live stream at 7 p.m. Don't be late because we may or may not have a lot to talk about. All right, on behalf of everyone, see you. Peace.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.